They were live.
Okay, we got people coming in still?
Yep. They're slowly coming in, but they're coming in.
Okay. We will call the meeting of the Irvington Architectural Review Board to order. As is always the case, we will start with continuations or revisions and then move on to new matters in ascending order, the order in which they came into the building department. With that being said, when you do make a presentation, we'd ask for you to please put your application up on your computer, make sure that we can see it, and we can discuss thereafter. At this point, I will call to revision 2022-73, 52 Field Terrace, new house.
And if you can hit the raise hand button when it's your turn to present, we'll be able to let you in as a panelist.
I have something to say on that, but I think they're going to be presenting.
Public comments after. Make the presentation.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
We can now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Yes, good evening. My name's Garrett Goss. We're presenting some aesthetic changes to the retaining wall that I believe has been discussed. I'm going to share my screen in a second. How do I do that?
You put your cursor on.
There we go. Sorry about that. Screen.
I have to turn on your video as well.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Might have to turn on your video as well.
Okay, yes, there we go. Oh, okay. So the retaining wall that the neighbor has expressed some interest in is located.
We're not seeing your screen.
We're not seeing
You're
your
not seeing
screen yet.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Are you seeing this screen now?
yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry about this. I'm trying to get to you the right document. You're not seeing this one though, are you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, are you seeing the plan?
No.
No.
No, okay.
You might have to select what screen to share or what window to share. When you
Yeah, I know I'm trying to do that.
We see something now. AutoCAD.
Okay. How about this one? All right, there you go. Is that the one you're seeing? With the
Yeah,
plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that. This is the neighbor's property. This is the subject property. There's a retaining wall here along the driveway. You're going to see a rendering in a second. This is the vantage point where we're standing, where you're seeing the rendering here. This is the existing, what is the neighbor has expressed concerns about the concrete wall. And this photo rendering depicts what we're proposing to address his aesthetic concerns, which include a stone veneer to match an existing stone veneer, which you can see here. A new chain link fence to replace this existing chain link fence, and then some mature vegetation that would come to the height of the wall, which is 6 feet at least. So these are we're showing American holly, Ilex opaca, which would be a perfect species for the location, a nice native, and would grow well. And then the last aesthetic change or improvement here is the railing that would be added to the top of the wall, which would be a Corten steel picket type guard railing, which would be somewhat of a safety measure for the driveway, which is near where you can see the cars parked up there.
Is the chain link fence on your property?
You know, this chain link fence and the wall appear to be right on the property line. If you look at the survey, you can see a little bit here. The property line comes right down along where the wall and the chain link fence are. So I would say it's probably shared, actually.
Okay.
What did you say the height of the wall was?
The height of the wall is 6 feet. And the material that we're proposing would go in at close to 6 feet and then grow from there. So
How high is that chain link fence?
the chain link fence is, I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, I'm guessing it is a 36-inch tall fence.
Five-footer to me, yeah. Okay, what exactly are you asking to change from the original, what revisions are you actually making of the previous approved projects?
The addition of the cladding, I guess the stone veneer, and the replacement of this fence, the chain link fence, and the addition of the guardrail at the top of the wall.
Okay, was the guardrail ever approved from the planning board?
I am not sure that it was. I believe this might be a new item.
You have any way to show us what it looks like from the other side?
At the moment, I don't know. But it would look virtually the same. It sits right, it goes into the top of the wall, and it would just be a series of pickets that are regularly spaced.
Village has height restrictions on how high you can put a fence on top of a wall or even aside from a wall.
Right.
And I need to see it from the other side. I mean, it looks like that the truck being behind that wall is already pretty much up to the windows. So
Right.
it makes me think that the wall on the other side is at least 3 or 4 feet. And then the fence on top, I just need to see it before I can approve it.
Understood. Okay. The intent is for it not to be over 3 feet tall for sure. So if it appears that way, I think it must just be a rendering anomaly, but we can address that for sure.
I'd like to see some paperwork from the fence company too, to tell me exactly what that fence, the material of the fence, the color of the fence, the height of the fence, things like that. And that goes for both the fence that's on top of the lower wall and the fence and what I'm going to call a fence on top of the upper wall. I need information. We need information on every piece of that wall that's being and also, are you using faux stone on the face of that wall? Are you using real stone? There's a lot of things that you have to bring to our attention that we don't have yet.
Okay. So
Hey, Garrett,
yes.
this is Brian Hiley with Apex Projects. We're the builder on the project. Just to
Hi.
speak to the truck, that is not up to grade over there right now. We still have to bring grade up over there. So that truck is actually it's subgrade. It's probably about 3 feet low right now. I think
Okay.
the intent of that retaining wall or the picket up there is about 36 inches, I think. So if that brings any clarity to that.
It does, but I still need to see it in pictures.
Sure.
And make no mistake, I have concerns about the height of that wall too, because normally what I see there is 4x8 sheets that don't make it all the way to the top. You know, when you pour cement, you usually put you know, a cement board or something there to maintain or retain the cement. And I just need something in writing from the you know, the project people showing me the height of the fence, the material of the fence, exactly what and how many of the trees and bushes are being planted, and the height of the retaining wall that's already there, and the material that's going to be you know, adhered to the face of it. In addition to that fence that's on top of the wall, what the material is and what the height of it is there as well.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, I will ask other board members if they have any questions or concerns outside of what I've already brought up. Folks? Nothing?
My only concern with what you said is just the height of the wall.
Mhm.
To me, it looks like a 10-foot wall.
I would also like to better understand what was originally approved
Yeah.
by us, because I don't
Not by us,
remember.
by the building department.
Okay, when
I mean,
we,
by the. I'm
when
sorry,
we
planning board.
approved this house, though, I don't remember any presentation of this retaining wall. I don't remember seeing any renderings of what the driveway would look like from this angle. And we did talk a lot about the driveway and the approach to the house from Field Terrace in that meeting.
Mhm.
But we were never shown a rendering of what this wall would look like in that meeting when we approved the plans from an ARB perspective.
Okay, anybody
Okay.
else? I will ask anybody from the audience had any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I do.
Please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address.
Yeah, so my name's Aram Rubinson. I live at 32 Osceola, which is the adjacent house, so that's my vantage point. I poured over all of the documents, and even though you guys were sort of, you know, unbelievably diligent with the project and the water runoff and all of the other stuff, this retaining wall got like no ink. It's a 10-foot wall. I measured it. My retaining wall at the lower yard is 3 feet. The reason they're saying it's 6 feet is because there's a pencil marking on the wall that it'll be up to that 6-foot line. The problem is there's about 4 feet from my retaining wall to that line, and there's 2 feet in between the property. So I got a 4-foot decline with a 2-foot spacing. All that mud and dirt and rain is just going to come into my yard with a chain link fence there. So that's something that I would want to get addressed. The other thing on the plantings is I talked with Dwight about getting a warranty of some sort, because it's not really in the builder or owner's interest to keep those plants, but to have a 5-year warranty that those will be maintained and watered and drained and so on, so that I don't end up looking at sort of bare trees and then just a huge wall. The railing, we talked about maybe passing that by me first too, just because I'm going to be looking at those sticks.
You can come to the next meeting when we get the
okay.
materials, that's when you'll get.
Yeah. And then I thought I should have some say on the chain link fence, since it is on our property
That's
as
why I asked that
well.
question.
Yeah.
Is it on your property or is it not?
It does sit right on top. I have the survey here. I don't know if
Okay.
that's.
But it is on your property in your opinion.
I don't think I have a smart enough opinion to say, because I'm not an engineer or an architect or any of that stuff. So, and then I thought, in terms of the veneer, if there's a way, I don't know how that's adhered to the wall, if that's sort of a stapled effect or a cemented effect. Yeah, so that would be nice to know. Yeah, so railing, chain link fence, warranty, my slope of that retaining wall. It'd be nice to raise my retaining wall or something like that. But other than that, I appreciate them at least recognizing that what I'm looking at is pretty awful from a 1906 Tudor home that I've got. To have that, like, when the rest of my house is totally consistent is sort of like a punch in the face every time I go outside.
Got it. Okay. Anybody else from the audience? We will ask for, as we have already asked for, I don't know where we stand when it comes to you asking about warranties. I would deal with that with the powers that be, because frankly, nobody's ever asked that question, so I've got to ask, you know, whether you have the right to ask that question.
All right, well, the builder seemed totally fine with it, but we'll see.
Okay.
And does this, when it is approved, all these things will be sort of part and conditioned on the approval, I presume, if they're satisfactory to you, of course.
Yes,
Okay, thank you for all your effort and work and for hearing me.
no problem. Oh, by the way, there are certain things that you mentioned in you know, drainage and that kind of stuff. That would have been approved by the planning board, not the ARB. There are certain things that we can do. Most of that stuff, you know, it's their issue. That's why it doesn't come to us until after that's all been worked out.
Okay, well, I've had a good working relationship with them. Nothing's been in writing yet, but I feel confident that they're listening to me too.
Anything more from the applicant?
Yeah, sorry, thank you. We did have the guardrail on our original plan, so that was evidently approved. And I believe that Brian addressed why it seems so tall, but we can get you the
That's fine.
some sort of rendering from the other side. Regarding the chain link fence and wanting to know exactly what that's going to be, and it sounded as if maybe the neighbor was not entirely on board with this fence as it's rendered. It's somewhat of a replacement of what's there. Does that not mean it would automatically be approved, or is there something else that you'd rather see?
If it's going to be replaced because it's in very poor condition, to me, it doesn't look like an exact replacement, but because it's chain link is one thing, but you know, the location of it looks like it's further back in the left photo. This is now looks like it's directly on the wall. I just need to see what you're requesting and where in better scope that
Okay.
I'm looking at.
Okay,
And photos on both sides.
okay, great.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Continue that. We'll move on to ARB 2023-42, 9 Meadowbrook Road. Revision to a new house.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll get started. 1 second. Can you see my screen?
Sir.
Okay, great. Hi, members of the ARB board. Thank you for hearing this presentation today. My name is Brian Hopkins of Hopkins Architect, and I'm the architect of record on the 9 Meadowbrook Road project. So we are basically representing an approval that was given back in June 26th of 2023. The reason being there were minor changes to the overall design after I took over the project from Ferguson Malone. And because of that, the building inspector sent us back to ARB, and basically the presentation today is really just going to walk through the changes that were made since that 6/26 approval. So let me just go into full screen mode and we'll walk through those changes. So this is sorry, let me just go through that. So this is the street facing facade of the home. And sorry, let me just generally say the biggest change, I think, was from a material perspective is that we changed from a Marvin window to a Clar window. Obviously, you guys know what Marvin windows are. You're probably familiar with Clar as well. They're a European brand. And we went with them because they were a higher performing window and of a higher quality. The other major changes from a window perspective, aside from the manufacturer, was that all the muntins, the horizontal muntins, were removed from the windows. So all of these grills are going to be removed from the windows because the owners just wanted that more modern look. So from an elevational perspective, looking at the street facade, the entry door was changed from a 3-foot door to a 5-foot pivot door. So from a 3-foot hinged mahogany to a 5-foot pivot aluminum door.
Any nomenclature on the door itself?
Any nomenclature on the door itself?
Yeah. Do you have anything to show what the door is going to look like?
Yeah, so I do have specs on the door, and I can show you guys that after I just walk through the elevations.
That's fine.
Great. So elevational changes, this is on the east-facing facade. Basically, there were some interior changes to the plan. And so going from one single window here where there was a bathroom, the owner wanted 2 bathrooms. Now they're back to back. So those became 2 windows instead of the one. Also, this window, they wanted a larger window in their powder room that was aligned with their with the mirror and the vanity in the room itself. And so we made that change as well and made it an operable awning window. And it was an awning window here. Also, this pane of glass, prior, this wasn't able to be fabricated by Marvin because it was such a wide window. It can by Clar. So this casement window was removed, and so now it's just one pane of glass. Also, from a layout perspective, and you can kind of see it here in the section, although this section isn't taken in exactly the same spot. There was a setback in the elevation where now the owner wanted a closet here, so this is now a full volume rather than a setback with a roof at the first floor. Sorry, at the second floor. The major changes from the rear elevation are there was a skylight in the corridor, kind of in the intersection of 3 different bedrooms. This was removed. So that no longer exists. And on the rear elevation, you'll see it on the next elevation as well. We removed all of the horizontal mullions that were separating a fixed pane and an operable pane below. And the change was aesthetic, but it was also functional as well. Now, rather than having the fixed with the operable unit below, they're 2 large operable windows, tilt and turns. The same goes here. These are the bedroom windows and then the garage windows below. Muntins removed, and then these became full panes of glass rather than fixed units below with an operable above, and the same at the bathroom window here.
Okay.
And this is the garage elevation. Garage elevation, similar comments to the previous as far as the bathroom windows. And then there was a little just modification that I made here, which was basically combining the garage door and the actual door here so that it feels like it's one opening rather than 2 with stucco in between. So that's going to be, garage MDO panel and then aluminum door rather than garage, stucco, and mahogany door. And similar changes below where my cursor is. Again, full panes of glass at the living room and the dining area. And there's no transom above this door because now, at the time that we switched, there was no mechanicals in the building, and that all had to be coordinated. So now there is a soffit here, which is taking up the space of where the transom above the door is. So those are the major changes, and I just wanted to show you old renderings and new renderings. So you can see the building remains largely unchanged. I think the biggest change is this setback that created a gap between the two volumes, which now no longer exists because that's just a straight MDO panel. And from the rear, you can see the before and the after.
I'm not getting that whole stairway. That stairway doesn't look like it goes into the lower portion of that space.
Sorry, sir, which stairway?
That one right where your cursor is.
Yes.
It looks like it's landing on an upper, the upper grass area, for lack of a better term, and it looks like there's a cement pad down below, right where your cursor go past,
Yeah,
go behind.
here.
What's, it looks like that is now all one space.
It turns.
So I can see why you think that. It's the perspective. But basically the stair comes down, it lands kind of at this grassy level, and then there's another run of stairs that takes you down to this level, which is it's grass and it's also patio.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to see. I would have to show you the 3D model to fully understand it. And here it looks even more confusing actually in this rendering because of the angle. So it looks like the stair landing is just kind of dying into the grass, but it's the rendering.
Okay.
So that is those are the changes. And now I wanted to just show you the CLAR. So the CLAR windows are now our CLAR A line. They call them CLAR 79s, but it's their A line. It's not going to be a triple pane, it's going to be a double pane. But you know, they still far exceed New York stretch requirements. Those are the windows. And then the doors, this is sorry, let me give you a little bit more real estate here. Let me just I'll go full with this. So the doors are they're from their passive line of doors, and basically this is going to be the door. It's the AP05. And so it's actually very similar to the style of the mahogany door, but it's going to be an aluminum, and they come in hinged as well as pivot styles.
And this is going to be hinged?
It's going to be hinged at the garage, and it's going to be pivot at the entry.
Okay. Do you have on the drawings, and this is something we usually require, but do you have on the drawings a door and window schedule?
Of course.
Okay.
So let me just make sure. So this is the window and the door schedule in the set. And this is straight from the construction set. And then you can see all of the windows outlined, dimensioned, handed.
Were these changes completed already and now you're just legalizing it, or you're looking to change?
Well, I mean, the set is complete and it's with the building department and it's in its final review. Yeah, but Ed wanted to send me back because he said these weren't the windows that were initially spec'd. So go back and have the ARB approve it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board?
No questions.
No.
Okay, we've answered all the questions that I had, and I'm sure you answered everybody else's questions as well. I will at this point make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you again.
All right. Now we come to the last revision, ARB 2024-12, 100 Main Street. I will ask whoever the applicant is to show us on the computer exactly what it is you're changing. I know it's minimal, but I just want everybody to see it. Are you doing it?
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
We got approved for an awning, because some of you weren't here. But when we took the awning out, the landlord actually wants to paint the building, and the building is beautiful. And next door, the barber shop and the nail salon, they have no awnings or no outside signs. They all have window signs, so it's literally a 25-inch by 30-inch sign on the window.
Okay.
Which we think looks much better than those.
And I know that that conforms with the village code for the amount of writing or amount of
Right, I
signage you can have. Yeah, yep.
That's why I kept it that way.
There was a not so unattractive pair of warnings at the top of the windows that we approved last meeting or the meeting before. But I personally don't have any issue with this on the windows.
But those awnings actually rock, but they covered all those windows on top.
Right,
You can
exactly.
see those
That's right.
windows. So when I took them down, I was like, these are beautiful windows and.
Plus, it's gonna
They
get
got a
more
lot of
light,
light.
it's gonna get more light into the rest.
Exactly.
All right, any questions for anybody at the board?
No,
No.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Sarah. The best. You're right.
Thank you.
For letting me present this. Thank you so much, everybody.
Take care. All right, we're on to new matters. Now we'll start with 24-18, 3 North Continent Street windows. Nothing yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I think I let the wrong person in.
If you're trying to talk to us, you're on mute.
Okay, apologies. Thank you very much. Let me try to share my screen.
Please do.
Let me know, please, if you can see.
We're seeing it.
Okay, great. As you'll be aware from the application that we submitted, what we're looking to do is to replace the windows on 3 North Continent, the top floor apartment windows, with more energy efficient windows that are double hung, double pane windows. We're using Anderson A series 2/2 windows that should meet the U factor that Irvington requires. We're also looking to match the Main Street main floor windows that we have. You'll notice in this picture, and I've got a better picture to follow, we're retaining the Gothic window that we have on Main Street, but we'd be replacing basically the 8 top story windows that surround the building on the top floor. And then the second element of the application is a porch railing replacement. So basically what we have now are some pretty severely disintegrating hollow PVC railings and balusters, and we're looking to replace those with quite sturdy wood balusters and a wood railing with a design that's more sympathetic to the age and the style of the building, that incorporates, in our view, some decorative elements that we've seen in other buildings around town. We've been looking for inspiration elsewhere. And so you have that design in front of you. Let's see. Okay, so this is the building a little bit closer up. And you can see the top floor windows and the Gothic window I mentioned that's on the left that will be retained. And then you can see also the porch railing here that I don't know if you can see the cracked balusters, but that's sort of what we're dealing with. So those are sort of hollow railings. And this is the Main Street aspect of the building. You can see here on the main level the 2/2 windows. You've also got storm windows on top, which doesn't make for a great look. And this is the Main Street view of the building. Okay, so the windows that are to be replaced is the plan of the upstairs level, which is an apartment. And the apartment's vacant now, so it's in our view the right time to do this. You can see where the windows are on 3 sides of the building that'll be replaced. And then the porch railing, this is a slightly more close-up view of what's there now. And as mentioned, they're just PVC rails. And this is the design of the railing that would replace what's there now. You can see that they'd be painted cedar rails and cedar trim boards, and also painted cedar apron boards. And the style, as mentioned, is one that my brother Tim, the architect on this project, has designed, but again, drawing from decorative elements found elsewhere in town. And I can show you some examples of that below.
These weren't necessarily found to be the original style that was with this house, is it?
No, that's a very
Or
good
is-
question. Very good question. I have absolutely no idea what the original style was. I've looked for old
It
pictures
wasn't
of the building.
PVC.
Sorry?
I can tell you it wasn't the PVC.
Yeah, no, I know it's horrendous. I have to completely agree with you. That's like one of the most horrible bits of this building.
Don't get me wrong, I'm delighted to see this.
I can't hear you fully, but I'm assuming that you're in full support that it's hideous and needs to come off, in which case I agree with you.
Well, that I would never say. However, I am in favor of the way this looks for the style house that you're dealing with.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it'll be a great improvement. And you might have seen, and of course, this isn't in front of you today, but we're hoping to actually extend this porch a little bit to the left. And that'll be the subject of a different application, but I can show you why. Because the side of the building that faces Main Street is also a bit of a horror show. And we're hoping to actually bring that side of the building more in line with, some of the better looking buildings on the street to improve the streetscape as a whole. That's really our goal here with this project on Cottonette, and then hopefully with another phase that extends the porch in the Main Street direction so that this aspect looks much improved over time. So
We're with you on that.
yeah, good. Because that's the real thing. I mean, we don't want to, obviously, we want to get design approval for this style, and then we want to then deal with whatever permissions and et cetera that are needed to work toward the extension. Really just, it's been a slow process, but we're really trying to make this building look much better. We had a good go at the inside. Now we really want to have a go at the outside. I'm happy to answer questions. My brother is, I believe, present, but I'll just cruise through a few other pictures so folks who might be listening have an idea of what's to come. The side view, of course, of the replaced porch would look a bit like this. Again, that's just have a look on the right-hand side. Here's a shot with just more detail of the design choices. More detail, of course, of both the porch railing itself in section, and then we'll have 3 quite substantial newel posts for nice wooden feeling. It'll feel much better than the plastic that's there now for sure. And then the porch apron that'll run and a bit of trim at the window bays for the porch apron, again to just really improve the look of the building. And just I know you're aware of this, but there are a few buildings that have taken a similar approach. And I don't know if the historical building actually, the historical society building, if this railing is actually original or not. But at any rate, we found this appealing. So
I would assume that if they did that to the railings, that it was probably along the lines of what the building was built with. So that's the first thing I thought of when I looked at the railings on your house, is how it matched this or was close to this, and I think it probably was very close to what was originally on the house.
Well, I hope so. I mean, we've been looking around, and I've tried a couple times to find, as I mentioned, pictures in various places, and I've asked the Historical Society, and really I can't find any information on what was at 3 North Cottonette previously. And it's a real smattering of building styles if you look across Cottonette or if you look across Main Street from that particular corner. So there's not really too much useful to draw from, I will say. I guess that's the last picture I have. But again, my brother's probably present, he can answer any questions that you might have on any of the details of the plans. And he's to thank for the inspiration of how to really draw this building into a real contributor to the Main Street streetscape.
Could you just briefly describe what's going on underneath that porch? The facade,
Sure.
you know, with the inlets or outlets, what do you want to call
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what's, I tell you, if I flip between pictures, you'll see what's there now. Right now, you basically just have the typical sort of cross-hatched, I'm sure there's a fancy term for this, but the cross-hatched just enclosures of what's a dead zone underneath the porch. It's just empty storage space now. And on the left, right behind the street sign here, there's empty space and a doorway that enables you to go under the porch. And really the change is to just make that sort of that empty dead space an improvement, and then also to replace the lattice work under the porch, because it's ancient and it was never very good, let me put it that way. So that's definitely not worth retaining. So the thought is here to just make the space on the left behind the stop sign more appealing by adding some basically some trim at the upper corners, and then to replace the lattice work that you see on this slide with basically these apron boards that themselves are a decorative improvement over what's there now.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask the board if they have any questions.
No.
No.
Okay, bravo on the changes. I would make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you so much. We look forward to having, well, presenting you with something nice to drive by. So thanks again.
We look forward to that wraparound deck. porch.
Yeah, thank you. We do too. So we hope to get that in front of you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Look forward to it. Okay, moving along. Moving along, let's see, 24-19, 12 North Continent Street, windows. Oh, yeah.
Hi. So our proposal for this, for 12 North Cotton is hold on, I am not sharing my screen.
Yeah,
Okay, let me know. Hold on. Is this working?
seeing something.
Can you see the project specifications?
Yep.
All right, cool. So we're changing, our proposal is to change the windows from what is currently existing to vinyl replacement Pella windows. They're Pella Symphony series, which is exclusive to us. They look a little bit more like this. What's currently on the house too, I have some photos here. The windows are old, wrapped in plastic. All the sills are starting to rot out, get nasty. It looks like there are some vinyl windows already currently on the house as well. See, like up here, there's already vinyl, but down here is wood. So we would be replacing, and it would look more uniform. I'm sorry, I don't have any renderings of what it like would look like or anything like that. But I think what we're doing is pretty standard. It's like we're just changing a couple of windows.
I'm not sure I caught what type of window you're referring to. I mean, what brand of window?
Oh, they're Pellas.
Okay.
And it looks like we're changing. Here, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, it looks like we're changing most of the, we're changing the rest of the windows out that haven't been replaced already.
Okay, the windows that are not being replaced, can you show us them? I'm trying to figure out whether or not we're maintaining the style window 6/6, 2/2, whatever.
Yeah, so that'll actually be in here. Well, the ones that, hold on, let me see what the grids are. Grid colonial contour. This is not exactly what I want. I don't have photos of the ones we aren't changing. But this is what's on the house currently. So it looks like it's just 1H2V, which is what we're doing.
Six on all. How many windows in total? Do you know?
I have it right here. 6, 8, 14.
And is there any point in which you're replacing a window that's sitting next to an existing window? That we're gonna
That I'm
have
not-
problem? Say again?
I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not sure whether or not I can approve without seeing whether or not you're keeping the windows similar.
I mean, we're changing them to vinyl with the exact same grids. That's really all we're doing. It'll be the same patterns. They'll just be a vinyl window, with the same style.
Okay,
Oh, you can see here, look, on the side here, there.
Right.
Those are pictures of what the windows will be. So
Okay.
it's gonna keep the same grid pattern, but just be a white vinyl window.
okay. Could you scroll down so we can see they're all the same?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Okay, I will, if I am to make a motion to approve, I will make sure that I approve conditionally to ensure that the windows will have the same patterns as the windows that are coming out, with the exception of being vinyl.
Great, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody from the board?
Nope.
No? Nope. Okay, I will make a motion to approve. Yes, I'm sorry.
Speak on this?
Sure. Okay, we have somebody in the audience that would like to speak on the issue.
Sure.
Up to tell us who you are.
David Zweibil, 13 North Cottonette. This is the Cottonette meeting, I guess.
Apparently.
Exactly. So I'm directly across the street from this.
Oh.
So when I sit on my porch, I look at this house. In any case, I'm noticing that this is all 6x6, but what I'm seeing when I look at the front of the house are 1/1s.
Okay.
So you're not doing anything on the front of this house? These are all side and rear windows? I'm a little confused where these are going. There's
What are you talking about?
Front of the house.
the front.
On the front of the house. Oh, there's one. Stairway window.
There you go.
There, that's the front of the house. You just passed it.
So right here.
Yeah, that's on the inside.
Yeah, if it doesn't have grids, we won't change the grids. We can still make these changes. Nothing is ordered and anything like that. Any window can be replaced in kind.
Is this window being replaced?
If we have a photo of it, yes.
I didn't hear what you said.
If we have a photo of it, yes, we're replacing it.
Okay.
So you're replacing that 1/1 with a 6/6?
We don't have to.
Okay,
Well, we don't want to have, the whole point is that we don't want to, when I said I would approve it based on same patterns,
Yes.
I also don't want to have
We'll do that.
2/2 next to a 6/6.
Right.
That's why a picture of the whole front of the house would have been helpful.
Yeah, I really thought my guy had one. And when I was going through it, I thought it was in there. But I can make any necessary changes that need to be done to the style as soon as I get into work tomorrow. So nothing will change as in style.
I'm looking at the front of the house and the 3 windows at the front of the house are all 1/1.
Okay,
On
we
the
can
second-
100% do that.
Second level. On the second level,
On the second level,
you have doors on the first level of the front of the house. or
Okay.
Appears to be. So, question is, outside of the window up in the eave, will those windows be 1/1s? Or there are no other windows on the front of the house, so
yeah,
I'm not too averse to leaving them that way. However,
Oh.
if you're gonna one right next to another, like change one of these two or one of those 3,
you know
I would
what?
have it 6/1.
I'm looking at the forms. Sorry about that to cut you off. I'm looking
That's
at the
right.
forms that I have like in my hand. For some reason, the windows without the grids, the side didn't pop up.
The what?
The on my form here, it shows these windows without. Oh no, never mind. Hold on here. Yeah, it looks like whoever was out there has all the grids to be the same. But when I go in there, when I get to work tomorrow, I can make them exact.
All right, so are you replacing the 3 windows on the front of the second floor on the front of the house?
I don't think so.
Okay,
it would be super helpful if you could take pictures of the outside of the house.
Yeah, I can
And
get those.
And for purposes of your presentation, like circle on the exterior of the house, which windows are changing and what they're, and then explain to us what they are being changed to. Because the pictures from the inside of the house, it's not clear which windows are next to which other windows and what's being replaced with a 6/6 versus a 1/1.
Yeah.
The presentation as you've done it just isn't clear with the interior pictures the way you have it. I feel like
I'm completely aware now that I'm here and
How
seeing
you
it.
could do it on your iPhone and then like circle with a marker, you know?
Yeah.
With the picture that you showed of the interior of the house, the 1/1, was a front window because you can see the trellis through the window.
Yeah.
Or the fascia through the window.
you can see the house
Decorative
across the street too.
So that's what it is. So my only interest is that it be uniform, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Didn't appear.
But like I said, nothing is set in stone with the style of the window right now. If we're changing it and it currently has no grids or it's one of the 1/1s, we can change. I can go and change that tomorrow.
But at this point, you don't know whether they're those 3 windows on the second floor are being replaced.
I'm not 100% sure. I just have the room names of where we're changing them.
All right,
And are these replacement windows, are you replacing the whole window or are these replacement sashes?
No, these are replacement windows.
Okay.
all right. If you can come back to us with a more exact plan of exactly what you're replacing and what you're not, we'd appreciate it. And we can go
Mhm.
back to this next month.
I mean, is it possible that I just emailed that over?
We're
To
convening.
the building department or something? Because the other one, the other project that I have in here as well is basically the same thing.
You have an issue with 1/1s in the front of the house and then the rest of the
No,
house?
not at all. Absolutely not.
No.
I can have that changed. I'm saying,
I mean, if it would seem to me that the whole house should be 6/6s,
Yeah.
if they're gonna do it.
Right.
I mean, we can do that as well.
You're interested in that?
But are they replacing? If they're not replacing them, they're not gonna replace them. You know, they're not gonna-
We're just changing those 14 that the homeowners wanted to buy from us.
Are 3 of those up to 14?
Like I said, I'm not sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that having been said, we're gonna have to discuss this again next month.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that.
He's up next.
There you go.
He's up next.
Who is?
Same guy.
Yep.
Same time.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be the same deal. I have photos of, hold on. Maybe I have better photos of this one, but it looks like it's just about the same, where everything's mostly inside. And all these
Let me-
windows are pretty much.
Let me call it
they've already been replaced.
ARB 24-20, 32 South Ferris Street.
Yep,
Okay, let's see what you got.
it's pretty much all, it's exactly the same. Except for this one, we're changing the door with the exact same door, essentially.
Is it only some of the windows that are being replaced on this one as well? Or is it
Yeah,
all-
I think this one is less.
But we still don't know whether or not.
This is South Ferris. Yeah, this one is.
Ah,
Yep, this one is less. Yeah, we have all the photos, we're changing grid.
But some are
The grids are
one
staying
wall.
exactly the same. I
So-
also have a photo of what the door will look like as well.
the ones that were 1/1 versus the ones that are 6/6. Is that because the existing window is 1/1 and the existing window is 6/6?
Correct. These are staying exactly like I know the other one was a little more confusing. But these are exact to what's
this is
there
not
now.
less. This is not less. Only because, once again, we don't know which windows are being replaced.
Right.
I think the same situation holds true, that we need to know, you know, by virtue of a rendering or a picture,
Okay.
what preferably a picture of what windows are being replaced, where the 1/1s are going, where the 6/6s are going,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I asked for all this too when they were out there. This one. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, or I don't know exactly which ones by looking at the outside of the house.
could you please come back to us with this information as well?
Sure.
Sorry to make you continue, but
No, it's okay. I completely understand. I wasn't aware of that detail.
okay.
I completely honestly thought that, just seeing the window, if we were just changing it like for like, it would just, that would be really it.
Okie dokie, appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Talk to you next month.
All right.
Moving along, we are about to hear ARB 24-21, 90 Highland Lane. Okay. Yep. Exterior elevation change.
Good evening. This is Ethel Dashberg Sabbath, 90 Highland Lane. Can you hear me?
And
Okay. We are requesting a permit for a skylight that we installed some 27 years ago. Unfortunately, without the permit. it was our understanding that the contractor was gonna take care of that, but of course, it wasn't done. So we, can you see the drawing?
Yes, we can.
So the
So-
top ones with the lines are the skylights that we got built in the attic in our home. And
Okay.
we have a photo as well. We live in a homeowner, in Upper Field Point Homeowner Association, and we got the approval from our architectural review committee. Architectural review committee. And there, I think you can see now the photograph, the aerial photograph of the skylights.
Are those two lights, four windows there or two?
There are four.
Okay. Was it the picture, the photograph only looked like two?
It's because it's too distant. It's hard I think you can see now that there are four,
Yeah.
but there is a very thin space between the two.
Okay, so what you're telling us is of the four, you want to replace two of them.
No, it's legalization.
I'm a legalization. I'm not replacing anything.
So you want all four of them to be legalized, is what you're saying.
Correct.
All right, well, I know that your architectural review committee in your homeowners development is very thorough. And I know that if they had an issue with it, you would have already known about it, so.
Absolutely, indeed.
At this point, I don't have an issue. I'll ask anybody on the board if they have an issue with it.
No.
No.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay.
very much. I
I
appreciate
will-
it.
I need to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Um,
You're good to go now.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you again.
All right, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We will go to the next new item. It's 2 Heritage Hill Road, a fence.
Good afternoon.
You doing? Mr. Steinschneider?
It's always afternoon somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Let me share the screen. Let's see if I can make it work. Okay, are you seeing the screen?
Not yet.
How about now?
It's coming, but it's not. There you go.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So what this is a deer fence that was already installed. It's was installed. We had to have it installed because of the landscaping that was being planted, which was part of the approval in the backyard. And as you can well imagine, in this location, they have deer. So we can be pretty quick with this. This is the survey. It shows it on here, but it's hard to see it. Here's our plan, which shows where it is. And what I've done is I've highlighted the area of the fence in yellow that's behind the house. And basically it goes from the back corner all around to the other back corner. So it sequesters this portion of the yard to keep it deer free, so that the plants, they've put in a lot of small trees in, and they wouldn't have a chance if they didn't have the deer fence. So it is up. So instead of showing you a picture of it, I can show you a picture of it. This is starting on the side that is near Marshall's Pond. And it's technically an 8-foot fence, but it's actually installed on terrain. So most of it is about 6 feet tall. They had to kind of cut it to make it work. And the gates are 6'6". So it's all compliant. They did a pretty good job, I think, of blending it into the site, so it's not too overbearing. Particularly on the backside, these lower two pictures here, it's really hard. If you really look, you can see them, but they kind of really fold into the landscaping, into the other plants. Here, see, I did the bit larger one here, like right here where my cursor's moving, you can see the stakes holding the fence up. And it comes around and comes down to where it hits the back of the house, which I'm already past. This is the front, as you know, I guess I put this in so that you'd see on the front, you can't see any of this. So you have the basketball courts, and I don't think we have a problem with those because they move, so they're not permanent structures. So that's basically what we have. I don't know if there's anything else that you were concerned about. There are notes about deer fence being a certain size steel post, which these are, with a certain type of black net, which this is. So I don't know if you have any questions about it.
The code calls for plastic coated steel. Is
Right.
that what these?
Yes.
Is that what these fence?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Some of the pictures I saw, the fence looked like it was in need of a little TLC. Some of the original pictures around the house. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's a shame to have a fence like that if the deers are gonna just jump right over it. It looked like it was, flopped over at one point, but
It's
I'm
probably
sure,
a hungry deer destroying the fence. We'll walk it. Charlotte's on the call. And she's, they're doing a lot of care and concern, maintaining, their yard and all that. So making sure that those posts are securely installed. In some areas, I think they had to actually set them in concrete to get the stability because of, shallow to the rock and stuff. But we can certainly walk that and make sure that it's in good shape.
No
And
problem.
I'll just add that trees have come down a couple of times on them and we have had to repair them. So there were times where it was flopped over, but it is no longer.
Okay. That's usually what gets those fences is tree branch.
Yeah, that and bear.
Which is why the committee doesn't recommend that we fence the entire woods. At any rate, I digress. I will ask the board if they have any questions or concerns.
No questions.
No.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you much, guys. Have a good evening.
You too. We will now go to ARB 2024-23. 35 Main Street, exterior elevation changes. I have in my hand a swatch of I don't know what it's for. I have to look at the application first. You have anybody?
Good evening. Can you
Mr.
hear me all
McCoy.
right?
Yep.
How are you all
Doing-
doing tonight?
Okay,
So, this is an application for 35 Main Street. I'm going to see if I can share a photo. I'm sure you all know it well, but sorry, a lot of photos here. Huh. Well, I can't seem to access this photo.
Douglas, we're not used to this from you.
I know, it's very strange. I just made sure it was all there. And just not syncing. Oh, I know why. Give me half a second. So while I'm doing this, I'm sure you guys are aware that 35 Main Street is one of the lesser attractive buildings on Main Street. I can't seem to access that photo, so I will share the drawings. Are you all familiar with the building? It's the one with the sushi place in the corner, the corner of Cotton and Main Street.
Wasn't the hair salon next to it already or recently approved for signage? I believe so.
Probably yes, because they were a new tenant, but we will deal with that down the road if we get approval for this. So this building, although it's considered in the historic district, is pre-existing non-conforming, and it has absolutely no redeeming features. Its proportions are very squat. We looked at options to try and do sort of a Disneyland fake, classical building, but the proportions are a little rough for that because it's very low, it's very horizontal. So then we came up with this idea where we're essentially taking wood, impregnated wood panels, which you have the sample there of, and putting them on the top, and then putting a black steel beam, sort of separating the second floor from the first floor to make a cornice of sorts, and then putting a stucco over the brick that exists there now. So that's our proposal, the main part of our proposal. The other thing, so this is what's existing now. We're proposed, all the red dotted lines are things that are being removed, the siding, some windows, the entry doors. And then on the building next to it on Continent, which is a garage on the lower level and a apartment upstairs, we're proposing to replace the garage doors, which you can see in the red diagonal lines. And then this very strange opening that has vinyl siding and a window in it. We're going to remove that vinyl siding and just re-stucco that whole building. One other thing we're doing is turning the window on Continent. Let me do this. This window we're turning into two windows, just to sort of balance out how that corner looks a bit. And then on the front, so this this area here is obviously the wood, new stucco on the brick. And on the front, the front, you can see nothing is really centered on this elevation. This door is off from the window above, but what we're proposing is just sort of frame this door with a darker, raising the stucco to make like a frame that actually aligns with the window above, and put a glass panel here with the building number, replace these doors, and then that sort of starts to center that elevation a bit and make it a little more proportional. The other thing we're doing, just to transition to give the building a little bit more lightness at the top, is we're proposing a painted black pipe rail here to just give it a little bit of extra detail. And that's kind of our proposal.
Can you go to the section where you show that upper rail?
Sure. Let's see here. This section here.
Yep.
So what happened? it's kind of interesting,
That's why I'm
Uh,
asking.
the building has two roof heights. So part of the roof on Cottonette, let me see if I can, oh, you can sort of see it in this plan here. This is that third story structure that the building was built around, the actual historic house. Sorry. So this is that third story piece. It's the actual historic house. And then this is the lower part. As it comes around here, at this point, the roof drops down. I can't remember, it's like 18 inches or something. So that's why these two sections look so different. But what we're also proposing is removing this window. Oops.
You can't see the window you're.
Sorry, removing this window and making it a door and putting a little roof terrace out there with glass railing around it, so the people in that apartment could have a little place to go outside and view the river and increase the value of that apartment.
Indeed. Okay. You need to show us anything else, Doug?
I'm not sure. I was mentioning this sort of older building that's behind it. We're gonna clean up the stucco on that and change the color of it to match the same stucco base that we're putting over the brick.
What about the upper part of it?
I'm sorry.
Where those three windows are, what are you doing with what finishes on that?
That's you're talking about this area right here.
Well,
that area?
I'm looking at the top, right above that.
Oh, this building?
Yeah.
We're restuccoing that because the stucco's in bad shape. We're gonna clean it up.
It's not gonna continue with the wood.
No. The wood is only on the corner building.
That's fine. Just want to understand it.
Yeah, the building in back I think it was an old barn or something, and it has a little character to it, so we're not looking to change that much. We just want to clean up the stucco and change the garage doors to put in a nicer garage door and sort of leave that as it is.
Why the two different windows on the plane of the garage door?
They're existing.
All right, and they're not being touched?
No.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions. Anybody on the board? No?
No.
No.
Okay, I will then make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Well, this is not your street.
Yes, it is.
What?
Cottonette.
Oh, Cottonette.
It's the corner of Cottonette and Maine.
All right, I will entertain.
So, I don't know what's going on here, but the contractors last week put new vinyl siding on the wall that borders 12 North Cottonette.
The backside of that building.
Yeah.
I was actually informed of that this morning. So apparently what happened was they fixed the roofs on the flat roofs on both buildings because they were leaking. When that was done, the tenant in the apartment on the building that he is speaking about said that there was water coming in the window. And that's this side of that building used to be an asbestos shingle in a diamond shape. My client, unfortunately, because he was trying to address the needs of his tenant, opened up that wall, fixed the leak, and then put new siding on. we would like to deal with that as a separate application.
I think you're going to have to, because I know that there was paperwork written up by the building department on it. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Doug?
Yeah, it all happened. I became aware of that today. The building department called me. Then right after they called, my client called me, and he was mostly upset with himself. So it doesn't look terrible. I can show you a picture of what that looks like, but I'd really like to deal with that as a separate application so we can move forward with it.
I've seen what it looks like, but it's not part of this issue. But it will be. I know based on the paperwork that I've seen, it will be dealt with.
Yep.
What is the intention for your plan? Is that going to be the same stucco?
No, we aren't planning on changing that side elevation at all. So my intention would be to legalize what he put up,
which is plastic vinyl.
Yes.
Which might be difficult to get through this board.
If that's a problem, we can address that. I'm sure he would be willing to address that.
Okay.
It also looks like they replaced the window, but I'm not sure what they did with that. They definitely, when they put in siding, the plastic siding, put a trim around the window.
Well, they would have to.
In black metal that matches not anywhere, but whatever that may be. It would seem to me, if I was voicing a preference, and my only thought of this is when I sit on my front porch, I look at the corner of that building.
You got a big porch.
Right.
Yeah. You look at all the buildings on that street.
And I look at that wonderful presentation of the building across the street from this, that they're, really doing something nice with. If you're going to re-stucco the front of that building, why don't you carry it around to the side as well?
I can talk to my client about that, definitely. I don't think that's a game changer. As I said, I know he was trying to address the leak in the apartment, and this was a fast and efficient way to do it. He shouldn't have done it before, going through the approvals process. But I think we can address that for you fairly easily in another submission.
Okay, and the garage doors you have pictured there are what you're thinking about, or do you have another idea of what?
No. They're going to be just clean, new garage doors. That's it. They'll be wood. Well, it's probably going to be a composite because almost everything's a composite now because it lasts longer. But they'll be painted, and there'll be no windows because who knows what gets stored behind there. But they're going to be nice, clean new doors instead of the damaged, rotting doors that are there now.
Okay, could I look at this wood siding sample you've got here?
Pretty significant, actually.
Looks expensive.
Great.
So that brown plastic wood product, you're planning on the second floor the whole way around, stucco on the ground floor of the.
Yes, it's actually not plastic. It's vinyl. It's resin impregnated wood panels. It's actually a real wood, but it's resin impregnated to resist the weather.
That means it's really expensive. Okay, that sounds great. And what is your color thoughts about stucco?
We're looking for a light gray of some sort. My client hasn't. We've looked at a bunch of stuff. I'm I'm
Okay.
looking for a light gray.
Okay.
And then the trim, the sort of as I showed here. Oops. Oh, come on. Where all the windows that are being replaced and the windows that are existing, we're going to paint them all black, and the stucco. If you look at the details around the windows on the base, we're making it a little thicker so it reads as a frame, and doing that black as well. So then the light gray will play off nicely on it.
Okay. An improvement.
Yeah, that was my goal.
I think there's someone else on the Zoom who wanted to say something.
Raise hand.
Yeah, we have a raised hand.
Okay, we have a raised hand there. From the electronic audience.
Hi, hi, I don't know if you can hear me, but this is MJ Mace.
We need to know who you are.
Sorry, this is MJ Mace. You just heard me present actually earlier.
Hi, MJ.
Hi there. Hi, Doug. I'm slightly awkward because I know you, Doug. You're a good friend and a great guy. However, I own the building exactly opposite the street from this. I would totally agree with you that this is one of the least pleasant looking, apologies to the owner, one of the least pleasant buildings, I think, on Main Street to look at, and I would certainly know that because I face this building. But I have to say what's being proposed, in my view, is not an improvement. I mean, yes, you'd be using, I mean, stucco, my God, my house is stucco and it's hideous. More stucco is not the answer, point one. Continuing the garage doors across the street, not great. I was hoping for more, as a new roof just went up on that building on the left-hand corner of what you've got there, just the other day. But more importantly, this big brown lump with wooden siding seems to me to be completely not in keeping with the flavor of Main Street in that zone. The proposal that you saw from me in the same call is an attempt to really improve 3 North Cottonette so that it does improve Main Street and it does improve Cottonette Street by returning to a more sympathetic and historical sort of flavor. And it will require for me quite an investment of funds. And I have to say, if this is what's going up across the street, it makes me completely hesitate on putting more money into it because I unfortunately feel that what's being proposed here takes down the flavor of the street and is it's like a carbuncle on on what could be a lovely continuous strip of Main Street. And I want to really apologize for saying that. This is the first time I've seen this proposal, and I'm just absolutely reacting with my gut, and my gut is upset at the moment. I would have hoped for more vertical elements rather than, 3 modern looking windows across the front. I mean, if this is like, I would hope for a design that would reflect the historical nature of the building that's actually hidden behind the sort of, that's what I want to see. I want to see the building that's now surrounded by this.
So can I respond? I can respond a little bit to that. It's okay. So the windows are existing and we're not changing them. We're not changing the size of the opening or anything. That's just beyond the scope of the work that my client wants to take on. The other thing is that, I worked very hard with creating the historic district guidelines for Irvington. And this is not the building behind it, yes, is a historic building, but this is not. It's not contributing. And one could say, because of this building, the building behind it is also no longer contributing to the historic district. And as such, it's kind of frowned upon in historic restoration circles to do a Disneyland thing and make a building look like something it's not. The proportions of this building do not, I tried many different schemes trying to do something vertical, but because of the position of the windows that are existing, and because of the overall, like, this building is so incredibly squat, it's just not possible to do something that looks like the rest of Main Street. So then I tried to make something that would be attractive. The wood was beautiful, and would respond to the building as it is. I mean, my client could have just said, okay, we'll leave, the brick is the brick, and we'll just replace the siding because he wants to clean it up. And it could have been as simple as that. He could have just done Hardy plank horizontal siding and called it a day, but that's not going to add anything to the village. I think this, it's modern, but it tries to speak to the mass and the character of the building that's there now.
I don't know if I'm permitted to respond. I'm not sure what the format is here.
I will give you one more chance to respond.
Okay, I mean, I would rather see, I appreciate that the building is squat. I would be more welcoming of horizontal hardy plank than this cladding. I would be happy to see you go up a third floor, and then have narrow windows that reflect, a similar character. I appreciate, Doug, what you're saying, and I understand people have financial constraints. Believe me, I know, because I'm basically bankrupt over my building, so I totally get that. But a modern building sitting on the corner of Cottonwood Street, is that the solution? Is there not a way to run? Is there not another way to think about the cladding? I appreciate that the building is squat. I appreciate that now it's, challenging looking. But like even the portion to the left, where you're going to re-stucco, the one part that I thought was a redeeming feature was you even had some horizontal boards that it's probably plastic even, but they're horizontal on the left-hand side of that building that I had hoped would be wrapped around, perhaps even, accommodating the garage doors so that visually there'd be something synchronous with the rest of Cottonwood Street. But then a modern building plunked down right on Main Street. To me, the fact that it's not a contributing building now doesn't mean that it couldn't contribute in the future, but I'm not sure that a modern building right there in the middle of Main Street is an appropriate solution to the challenge that that I appreciate you're facing as an architect, given this raw material.
Doug, response? Your
I appreciate what MJ's saying. I think this in some ways comes down to this aesthetic, what different people see aesthetically. I think, villages and cities grow and change, and new buildings come in. I think, it's not on Main Street, but there's a building that came in a couple years ago on Broadway that's, just a little bit down, that is modern, and I think is a gorgeous addition to the sort of character of the houses in this area. Irvington has a very strong history of modernism. There are a lot of great modern buildings in and around Irvington. This building, in essence, is strangely a modern building, just based on its proportions and its lack of detail. So we're just doing our best to try and make it a little more attractive than it is now.
Anybody from the board have any other questions?
Sorry, can I just make a comment about materials, perhaps even?
I thought we gave you one that shot, but go ahead.
I appreciate this, but you have to appreciate that basically my life savings are across the street. And this is the first I'm seeing this design. And I would say that when I do look across the street, I at least see some brick underneath some of the, the plastic boarding, and at least brick is an honest material. There's an opportunity here to really contribute to the traditional Main Street flavor with this building. And I'm afraid if you lock in this kind of modern concept, you'll never be able to retrieve that look, and you will always have this hiccup in the middle of the street. Whereas I think there's potential to have a slight rethink, apologies for this, Doug, come up with some elements that are consistent with the flavor of Main Street, using wood, using brick, using some vertical elements to try to retrieve what's possible from this admittedly awkward raw material. So I would just make a plea for a rethink. Thank you.
Your last shot too, pal.
Thank you. Well, after hearing what MJ said, I can't agree more. It seems like it's a little too modern here. I look at, Doug, I appreciate the concept of not Disney-fying, architecture. But I think, if I was the Houlihan Lawrence building, currently has taken a nice look at doing that and maintaining what the general historic character of the village looks like in a new facade. And they put a roof on it that is appropriate to the community. I think the building with the nail salon, which used to be a gas station, is also more appropriate to the historic character of the building rather than a modernistic structure in place of that. And I agree with MJ that I would much prefer the upper levels be brick rather than putting stucco over the brick, is continuing the brick.
It's not possible.
What do you mean it's not possible? I do.
The way the building is constructed, it's just that wouldn't be possible. We'd have to reframe the whole second floor.
No, you do it with half-inch thick brick. Like.
So then you get a brick box. I appreciate what you're saying about the buildings that used to be the gas station. Again, that was a ground up building, and I actually am not a fan of that building at all. But that was a ground up building, and they had the chance to make it what it was. This is an existing structure that has windows that don't align. It has proportions that are just awful. There's really, because the windows don't align, there's no real opportunity to do vertical expressions except at the corner, which would just outline the boxiness of it. There's really, and if I just did brick and then a brick veneer, I'm not adding any detail. I'm just making a flat brick building.
Well, what about MJ's suggestion? I know the owner of this building was trying to add more apartments to it and having problems with doing that. What about putting on a third floor?
No.
In the front, as a solution to adding some height to the building and adding some architectural.
Well, it's not really it's not really the role of the boards or of other people to tell someone he has to spend a seriously expensive amount of money to add a third floor to an existing building. So
I agree, Doug.
But I agree with that completely too. I'm just offering, I know they were trying to add more units.
Well, that was MJ was talking about the garage doors. That was what we were hoping was we could turn that building with the garage doors into a residential building on the ground floor, but there was a lot of problems with accepting what could be the affordable housing unit. So it just wasn't worth him. It wasn't worth it financially for him to do that. But adding another floor doesn't make that. It's two totally different things.
Okay, I'm just agreeing strongly with MJ that I would like to see a rethink of something that's not so blocky and squat, and being emphasized.
Okay.
The way it is.
Let's end the conversation,
Thank you.
and we will, Doug, I will ask you what your intention is at this point going forward.
I'd like to hear what the board thinks.
Well,
This is what we've presented.
one of the things that the board must always remain cognizant of is the fact that like MJ said, people have only so much in the way of funds to make these changes. It appears to me that while they spent a little much on the wood above versus hardy plank probably, I still don't see where it's the board's business to be telling them that it's, you know, you need to do better. Unless it's the actual design was an issue, which I don't think it is. I mean, at this point, I will put it to a vote, but I don't know how the vote's gonna go, to be honest with you.
That's okay. That's what makes it all exciting.
I mean, look, I hate modern architecture. That's my honest, biased opinion. I live in an 1888 Gate Lodge in Ardsley Park. So I'm probably the board member that is, you know, hardest to sell on these types of projects. But I think Doug has taken an ugly building and made it slightly less ugly, and that was his goal. I think Doug's point that it does reflect some of the more modern architecture throughout the rest of Irvington is an accurate statement and relevant to consider. I think the building mixed in with these other beautiful historical buildings is sort of a microcosm of Irvington as a whole. We have modern houses like the one going up on Field Terrace mixed in with historic homes built in 1888 and even earlier. That's Irvington today. Maybe our main street should reflect what Irvington looks like today.
I'll just say this. I think that every single month there are projects that I don't agree with the look or the style or the way things are done. That's why we have a code. If you have followed the code and it's compliant and it's safe, then I, as a neighbor or a resident, don't really have a right to tell you how to spend your funds or how to design your property. So that's where I lie on that.
That's a good way to put it. Anybody else? Okay, well, I will go back to where I was a few minutes ago and make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
It's unanimous. Okay. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too. Moving on, 24-24, 61 West Clinton Avenue, exterior elevation change.
Thank you all.
Take care.
See you next time.
For the two new people, this is not the normal length of time we usually spend on it.
There is not normally this much neighbor input,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Good evening, board. Hold on, here we go.
Good evening.
My name is John Williams, representing JVMP Architects. We are the original architects of the single family residence. I'd like to start to share my screen.
An old firm then.
Yeah, been around a little bit. All right. Can you see this? Yes.
You might be stretching out your Wi-Fi a little bit. You're starting to break up and it's taking a while to load, but we do see it now.
Hello?
We saw it. We saw it. Can you hear us?
Hello?
We can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
You just broke up, but yes.
Oh, let's see. Let's see if we can get. Okay, let's see how this works over here. How about this?
Yeah, there we go.
You got it? All right, perfect. Okay, so this is our existing single-family residence. This is our front of the house. Main scope of work is an interior renovation, of which includes a kitchen renovation on the backside of the house in this bay right here. So the idea is we are taking these
Could you
three
slide it over?
windows that are arch
Yeah,
top.
Could you
Yep,
slide it
sure.
over? We're like half cut off
Yes.
over there.
Sorry, how about this? Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So right now there are 3 archtop casement windows and then 2. This is a brick veneer house. These 2 are just brick panels made to emulate actual windows. We have a new client that just purchased the house and is looking to do some renovations, and here is our new proposed. This is all work in the rear elevation, by the way. So the idea is to square off those windows, keeping the same width of the masonry opening, and then adding 2 windows into those bays there. We're going to use Norwood windows, which is a wood window to kind of match what's there already. Hold on. Sorry. I know it's choppy, guys. There we go. There we go. Everything else will be matching existing. Soldier course up top at the header, a brick subsill. Did I lose you guys?
Okay. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. I had a question. Where the windows make the turn left and right, what's the white board made of? Looks like
It's an AZEK PVC material. Yeah.
To bring that back up, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. You see that?
It's coming. There we go. Yeah.
It wants to go.
We see it.
Okay. Yeah, so the AZEK would just be at those corners there. There would be a traditional brick mold as well to match the existing.
So the color on the doors to the left, the moldings left and right, that's also white? Or that's also a similar material?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Is there any other white PVC on the house anywhere existing?
There's white trim. Everything else is existing on the house. It's about 20 years old, so PVC wasn't, readily available or used at that time. But like mentioned earlier in this meeting, PVC is pretty much the go-to now just for wear and tear.
I think AZEK might be the.
Yeah, it's an AZEK material.
Or to me is it's a different color. We think of PVC as, just not a cement, not a thick board, but a thin veneer.
Well, it's a molding, essentially. We're using it as a, you know, a 1x.
Right. Okay, any thoughts on matching the other windows with the amount of lights that are on the window?
So the way the kitchen kind of opens up to the backyard, we tried to kind of accentuate your sight lines. Granted, these are above a counter now, so where those grills lay out, they're basically at your eye line. So we tried to, you know, make as much glass as we possibly could there.
Okay, well, for me, because it's on the back of the house, I'm not gonna make an issue of it.
Okay. And you can tell just by the doors, right? You'd see there's essentially that crossbar that just goes right at your eyesight.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right, any questions from the board?
Nope.
I mean, I feel like the the existing window, the bay window has almost like an arch effect. Almost like a rounded kind of overall feel that kind of mimics the decorative trim above the windows to the left of the kitchen window. If you go back to the back view of the house.
Sure.
I'm wondering if you could do something prettier with that decorative trim above the new kitchen window to kind of mimic that more like arched shape that's happening elsewhere on the house. Or what were you thinking in terms of the decorative
So
trim above
right
the
now,
window?
these are arched. So it's a straight soldier course that matches basically all of the doors immediately to the left and right. These arch tops, they're still straight doors. They're just arched lintels. Yeah. And at this width, it really kind of looks odd and gets close to this kind of, you know, skirt border up here.
Are the windows
So
on
the
that
idea
same?
was to kind of square up. What's that?
Are the windows on that same plane above, have that straight, course above the windows? I mean,
Yes.
it's not arched, is it?
No, those were the only arch top windows in the house.
You see what I mean? And then there's like that almost kind of an arched piece on the roof line in the center of the roof line there.
I can go back to the existings.
I mean, it is the back of the house, so maybe I'm being too nitpicky, especially for 10 o'clock.
So yeah, the existing as it is now.
Yeah.
So it kind of splits the hairs. Two were not, one, wow, those are just panels, the ones that have the straight across top. Whereas the in the middle do have an arch.
Right. So these were arched to accentuate the kitchen, right? This was the view out. So it was okay that they were different. Once you add the two windows on the sides, I think it's more in line that everything has a straight head.
Okay, I would tend to agree. I don't know whether anybody else feels differently. Once again, it's on the back of the house.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I hate that you're removing a beautiful bay window with an arch top like that, but it is the back of the house, so
Right.
it's fine.
You know, we're adding a lot more glass. You know, the view will be great.
Great. All right. Anybody else? Questions, concerns?
Nope.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. ARB 2425, 26 Hudson Avenue. In addition. It's small. Thank God.
Good evening,
How we
everybody.
doing?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Let me share my screen here. So for the record, my name is Sam Vieira. I'm the project architect. And just bear with me here. All right, can you see the drawings on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So essentially,
Not yet.
Not
We,
yet?
we don't see him yet. No, sorry.
let's see. Share screen. How about now?
Yep. Yes,
You
we
can
do.
see- You can see the drawings, correct?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Sorry about that. Let me get
problem.
this out of the way. All right. So essentially what the project entails is a single story 11-foot by 24-foot addition to the existing single family house. And just to sort of explain to you what the purpose of this addition was that if you the house presently has a living room out in the front and a dining room towards the rear. And the impetus was to create a full bathroom on the first floor because the house presently only has a single bathroom upstairs, and to create a small sort of expansion of the entry foyer into what we're calling the mud area. And by taking that space away from the existing dining and living rooms, we are pushing both rooms over to the left towards the side yard, where it will be relatively easy to seamlessly add this interior space. The exterior became more challenging because the house presently is a two-story house, as you can see here, with a large exposure aluminum siding. And because the walls align both front and rear, and aluminum siding is not readily available, and because of a small addition, it really was not in the budget to re-side the whole house. The concept we came up with was, what if this addition, though seamless on the inside, looked like it was an old covered porch that had been converted to living space? So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit to show you if you can see that. So what we tried to accomplish here is by putting a roof over here, a hip roof, low pitch roof over the new addition, where it would be framed underneath the existing side windows up on the upper floor. Run a horizontal element here that would mimic what would have been, in some cases, an old railing, and then put windows that match the existing windows in size and shape and function. They're double hungs, 1 over 1, and introduce panels to sort of break that up also, to create a pattern. And then here at the connection between the old aluminum and the new structure, we would put these applied sort of column details that would come down to, what again we are mimicking as a rail. And that would allow us to transition from the old existing aluminum siding into the new addition. We were looking to do a horizontal cement board, probably a hardy plank, in an Arctic white. And then these panels would be a PVC applied panels, and also the columns would also be an applied molding made in the field. So essentially, when you're looking at it from the front and the rear, you get the sense of this having been an old porch that was basically finished and converted into habitable space. And then this is the elevation on the side. As you can see, the roof line is created simply by avoiding these two existing windows up on top. And then again, trying to create the image of what potentially would have been in some old cases, some older examples throughout the village, an old porch that had just been enclosed. And this also allows us to maintain some semblance of the same pattern for the windows on the inside of the house. And that's basically it. I mean, again, the finishes are the roof will be asphalted roof shingles to match the existing, and all of this is white applied PVC. And the windows are I like to use Anderson 400 series low E, which will meet the Irvington stretch code, the New York State stretch code that Irvington has adopted. And I think that's pretty much it.
My one question that I have is, do you not think that going from an 8-inch panel above and what looks to be a 5-inch panel or less, there. I mean, it to me, it looks more, it doesn't look so bad here because it's a distance from the upper panels, but when you go on to when you look at the side, the size of the, I mean, we're talking 5 versus 8. Yeah.
You're talking about these panels?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, what panels are you referring to? I'm sorry.
What would be the hardy plank, I guess?
Oh, what would be the hardy plank? Well, again, sometimes if you try to match and you miss, it's worse than if you just, in my opinion anyway, if you simply just treat it as if it had been like a porch addition or an old porch. So Hardy does make a large exposure siding. Unfortunately, that large exposure siding doesn't come pre-painted. That large exposure siding that would match, I think this is an 8 or 10-inch exposure on the existing and aluminum, would have to be painted. And that almost defeats the purpose of having something like a Hardy plank with a factory finish and all of the PVCs, because you're trying to, diminish the amount of maintenance over the years. But I mean, that was my thought process. Clearly, if the board believes that you would rather us try to carry those lines across, I don't think the clients would be averse to it.
The exposure on the right side of the screen right now, is that the front or the back?
This one is the side. This is the side. That's the side that the addition was built on. This is the main house, the 2-story house. There's presently a very small little screen porch that sort of sits here out in the back. It's much smaller in footprint than the addition that we're proposing.
Okay. It's just something that caught my eye, that's all.
But again, I purposely went to a different exposure simply because I didn't want it to look like I was trying to match it and I missed.
Oh.
And as you know, also, the aluminum siding has a pretty deep shadow line. When you look at the pictures of these homes, it's a pretty deep shadow line. And one of the things that you get when you use a cement board, in this case a Hardy plank, is that the boards are relatively thin, so the shadow lines are much smaller. So again, it would look like you tried but you missed, and at least that was my attempt.
Okay. That was the only thing that I had. Anybody from the board have a question, concern? No. Good. Okay, that having been said, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good to go.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
All right. Really, it's too late for housekeeping issues, but I just want to say that for Garnet, I want to make sure that you understand that in the beginning of the month, that usually the first Thursday of the month, you'll get an email from Sarah. Oh, you have more?
Oh, are we adjourned?
I can adjourn if you want. Didn't matter if it's on record. Okay, motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?